Hey, hey. Knock it off. Knock it off. No, knock it off. No, no. How is it that Jason has food and you're not over there begging?
What are you looking for?
Hi, Mom. Can we stop? Mom is busy.
Tell the truth. Or I shoot you. In the head. Make a mistake. You see that goes to Somalia?
We're just hanging out before she jumps on.
No one goes to Somalia.
I sent her a reminder, but I don't know. I don't think she's seen it yet.
He does not know. He just works for me.
He opens doors he should not be opening. I should shoot him.
I would rather you did not. I asked him to find his own privacy. Yes. No, never worry. You should not be snooping around. Why did you interject as this mission? I will kill you myself. He was a private contractor and hired to protect the ship. He said his name was Daniel Sabin. That was the name he chose. He went by Daniel Pryor when he was a U.S. Marine.
Did you know he was married?
In a ship filled with smugglers and thieves. He did not fit.
So you trusted him?
Do you know what you found?
How are you doing today?
He was not. You cannot trust a man whose loyalty has a price.
That's been said about it. True, Frank. The others are up with the business thing out there.
The past couple of weeks have been trying. Who are you exactly, Mr. Shaw? Here you remain is not fit.
Well, just focus.
Late life awakening.
Not too late. I'm 31 years old.
And adept at dodging questions.
Anyway, do what I asked when I got you. How do you define yourself? You are. What do you say? You are what you eat. You are what you do.
You are weakness.
Did you know anything about that side of my house? Our situation.
Sure you have.
You don't want to make me simple, right? Who's the joker?
No one's going to dive into this episode. You want to know? Fear at the thing.
Get it. You get it. You're the senior field agent. So it's my responsibility to answer your stoner's absence. Yeah. Then you have to do it. How do you feel about it? Because you're supposed to do all my work. Because okay.
Who's the special agent with you?
Okay,
Hi, Taylor.
let's work on it. And then you don't? Yeah, I'll get you.
Ship was supposed to resupply saline. You reached Grimes Palm with their passage.
You're making him sound like something he was not.
He cashed out of the core.
Look, I have learned many things from years. One of the first lessons, there is no such thing as an ex-marine. Regardless of who prior to become.
Boss, we got a problem. can we do for you, Officer Ray? Keep going.
What time was the 11?
You're holding a number of 19 hostage.
It seems had a rough year. I think you already missed your chance to rescue someone. And I'll never arrive in time to rescue her from you.
Drew was asking me, bro, what happened?
All right, Bug. I'm on live.
Wait, what?
Hi.
How bad did it?
How are you tonight? Hopefully I'm good.
Yeah, he's really upset. I don't know.
Can you hear me? Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Yes. So, everyone, this is the author of Unbreak Me. I was hoping to get on here and get a few more in. I've sent a bunch of invites out, so hopefully we'll get more in as we begin talking. But I will also be posting clips of our interview on my page so that others can also see it.
Okay, awesome.
So, yeah. So if you guys have any questions, go ahead and comment below. As I go through some of the questions that I already have written down, we will then start getting to the questions in the comments. She has graciously joined me in my 5K Schmib Away / Author Appreciation Month for the month of January. So today we're interviewing her, and then later on today we'll be interviewing one other author. So we have a total of 25 authors signed up for interviews and donations. So we are going to have 5 winners, 4 U.S. winners and 1 international. So let's get started. First question. What is the first story you've ever written, even if it's a silly childhood one?
Ooh. The first story ever in my life that I can remember would probably be in 3rd grade. I had a story published in a book. There was a contest. I think it was for my whole state, all the different kids in all the grade of 3rd grade. That made no sense, but you know what I mean. All wrote stories for a project, and then they were all turned in for the whole state. And then so many were picked to be in this book, and mine got chosen as one of the stories that got published in this book. So that's probably the first story I remember actually creating. I couldn't tell you what I think it was about recycling and being superhero recyclers.
We all need to do that more.
Yes.
Who is your biggest writing influence?
I don't know. I feel like I read so many books. I don't know if I
have a favorite.
I love Emily McIntyre. She does a dark series, and she has just a regular romance series that I really like. Her regular romance is Beneath the Stars, I believe, and then the dark series is retellings of fairy tales in the point of view of the villain. I really do like her. I don't know if I really necessarily am inspired to write what I write based on what she wrote. I've read so many books, so I feel like every book I read, I kind of see what I like, see what I don't like, and then throughout that probably builds into what I create. It's just the hundreds of books I read a year.
So you get your inspiration from what you read.
Yeah, what I read and life, just everything I feel like is part of my inspiration. Just living, hearing stories of other people, dreams, books, TV, everything in one. Music, I love listening to music. I'd say music probably inspires me when I write more than anything. I put headphones on and I can just listen and write for hours.
What's the hardest scene that you've ever had to write?
So I can't go into too much detail, but I would say there's a scene in book 2 that involves, let me think of how to word this so I don't give anything away before I say it. There's a scene in the book that I'm working on currently that involves the main character going through something pretty traumatic and the other main character dealing with that situation. So it's his point of view, so that gives a little bit away, of him dealing with the situation. I feel like watching or like writing that was a pretty difficult scene to write. I also have a side character in the second book that has cancer, and I'm working on that. I just lost my grandfather to cancer this year, so writing them scenes has been a bit hard to write.
I understand. I lost my grandfather 3 months after I got married.
Yeah.
So
It's hard. I was telling my husband the other day, because we lost him the beginning of this year, and I was like, it stinks that he never got to see this. Like, he never got to see me publish a book. He never got to see me do well with it, and it's hard. It's tough, and writing them scenes does bring a lot of that back to the surface.
yeah. Well, because it connects you more with them.
Yeah. You're okay, baby.
What's the hardest part of your writing journey?
I would say the hardest part for me is pushing myself outside of my comfort zone. I'm not normally a very extroverted person. I don't really like putting myself out there and being like, hey, look what I did. I did this. It's awesome. Isn't it great? So I've been working really hard on pushing myself and, doing lives, making videos, and talking to people about my book, and not saying, like, really trying to build myself up and saying, you know what, I did write this book and people do actually like it, and you don't have to feel like you need to, like, you're not good enough. So that is something I've been working on very, very, like, a ton.
You should never feel like you're never good enough, because even if you get reviews that aren't the greatest, it just might not be their style or their like, and there's going to be lots of people out there who will enjoy your book.
Yes, that is also what I'm learning. I know when I first published, I was petrified. Like, I wrote this book 7 years ago, so in the 7 years that it didn't go published was because I was petrified of what people think, and I was just basically holding myself back. So when I first published it and I first got, like, my first negative reviews, I was, like, really hard on myself about it, and I was like, how can I do better? Why isn't it good enough? But now that it's been out there and I get so much good feedback, I'm like, you know what? I need to just embrace this is who I am as a writer, and I will grow, I will do better this is my debut. So I just keep telling myself, you're going to learn, you're going to keep improving, hopefully, as you go. And you also need to accept that it's just you're not going to be everybody's cup of tea, and that's okay. So I'd say that's probably that whole package is the most difficult thing, but it's getting so much easier with time.
How long have you been on TikTok?
I joined for my author TikTok probably maybe a few months before October, so it came out in October, maybe August-ish, and I posted videos like every day. A lot of them didn't go very far. It wasn't until November that one video went viral, and it has been just like a crazy, I feel like it's just like somebody pushed this tiny little snowball off the top of a hill and it just is still rolling, and I'm like, I have no idea what's gonna happen. It's been crazy since November.
Yeah. Do you plan on writing any more books?
Absolutely. So this series that I just started, the Magnolia Falls Ranch series, is hopefully going to be 3 to 4 books long. It's definitely going to be 3 books. I have a 4th book that I am on the fence with. I've started it, but the main character in that book is paralyzed. I want to make sure I do enough research so I can correctly portray that situation. So I'm on the fence if that will be out. I also have a few other books started that I have no clue what I'm going to get to, but I'm hoping in time I can maybe even do some other genres a little bit, mix it up. They'll probably all have a romance edge to them, but maybe like a little darker, or maybe a little fantasy.
If you guys have any questions, feel free to answer in or type them in the comments. We're talking to the author of Unbreak Me. So for all those who have now just joined, please feel free to ask any questions. Have you ever had a dream that you've turned into a book?
So this is so funny because the fantasy-ish romance book that I have on the back burner right now was a dream. I woke up and I told my husband, I said, I just had a dream and it is going to be a book. I know it. It was crazy. I probably have had tons that I've never actually written down, but if I ever do get to that fantasy book, it was definitely a dream.
When you get ideas or thoughts, do you write them in a notebook? Or how do you keep track of them?
Yeah, I usually text. I'm sorry. I usually text myself, so I will have random thoughts like at any time. The other day I was cooking bacon for breakfast and I was like, I thought of a whole entire scene, so I was like, I have to pause everything, I have to write this down because I will forget it. So yeah, I normally I have like a text thread to myself in my phone full of absolute chaos. Some of it is just terrible and some of it actually gets used, but that's how I normally keep track of my crazy thoughts.
What inspired you to start writing?
I got into a reading. Well, I have been writing books forever, like stories for my kids, short stories, just things for school. I've always liked to write, but actually writing a novel, I was reading like crazy, and then I got in this terrible reading slump. I couldn't find anything, and I was just so frustrated for a long time. And then finally, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to write a book and see what happens. And that's what I did.
Do you plan out your books or do you just write until...
Yeah, I'm not a plotter. I am terrible at plotting. I actually tried to plot because I was like, maybe it'd be easier if I actually like sit down and write everything that should be in the book. I'm more of a just sit down and let it all come out until I'm like, all right, that's right. And then I'll go back and I'll fill in the blanks and see what seems like it's missing or lacking. And then my editor is amazing and she'll be like, hey, what happened here? This took a weird turn and something doesn't make sense. So then I'll be like, oh, yeah, that's probably because I just chaotically wrote for 6 hours straight.
Getting in the groove and lose track of time.
Yeah.
Is there anyone in your book who's like an inspiration from inspired certain scenes?
I'd say yes. I wouldn't say there's a character that's specifically inspired fully by a person. I'd say pieces of them are inspired by different people. I know the main character in this book, the love at first sight kind of thing, and I kind of pulled from me and my husband meeting and just like having that connection. it's funny because someone read it and they were like, man, the main character reminds me of your sister. And I was like, I didn't mean to do that. I kind of feel like the main character in book 2 reminds me of myself a little bit. So I do feel like I take inspiration from people and put it into the characters, but I've never actually directly, I know people will be like, oh, I'll make a character in my book about you. I've never actually made a character directly based on one person.
Have you ever written anything that was just for yourself that you never meant to send out or put out?
I've written things for just myself, poems, stuff like that I just write for just because I want to write it, that I'll never publish or do anything with probably. I did write a children's book for my husband and children. I'm looking at him because he's the reason this snowball is happening. So I did write a book about my husband. He was a line clearance tree trimmer. And I wrote this little story for him and our children and just our family about, he would go on storm work. It was, the kids didn't get why he was doing that. So I wrote this little book and then he pushed me to publish it. And that's what snowballed this whole thing. That book turned into multiple children's books, which turned into him saying, well, you finally published a book, so you might as well put that novel out there now.
Have you ever done research to do a book?
Oh, yes. Look things up to put inside of the book. So much. I can't even say it because it will spoil something, so I can't say the exact thing that I had to research, but there's a scene in book 1 that I put in there, and then I was like, I don't know if this is even a possible thing that could happen. So I Googled it, and it just so happened that it did happen before what I wrote. So I was like, man, I don't know how to feel about this situation being so similar to what actually happened now. But at least it made sense in the book that it could happen, because I was thinking maybe I just made up some craziness. But I research all the time and make sure, especially like I said, there's characters in my book who are dealing with different things like addiction and being paralyzed, stuff like that. So I really try to make sure I'm doing my research on that kind of stuff and putting correct information about it.
Yeah. If you could spend a day with an author, who would it be?
I don't know why I'm so bad at this. I just have so many books that I like. Probably Emily McIntyre. I really like her. I like her books. I like her videos on TikTok. She seems really nice. She's my favorite author right now, so I would say her.
Do you write mainly at home, or do you, if you go traveling or go visit someone, do you write while you're out too?
So I usually write at home. Things have been crazy since things are flip-flopping. So my husband has been taking the kids and saying hey, go to Starbucks, escape for a little bit away from the chaos and try to write there. That's been actually really helpful. We are on vacation right now, so I have been trying to write here. When I get a free moment in between, there's 12 inches of snow outside, so we've been out in the yard playing, but yeah, I try to sneak it in anywhere, wherever I'm at in life. Even sometimes, like I said, I'll just text myself a little bit of something if I think about it wherever we are.
When is your next book release?
So the plan is April. I don't have an exact release date yet. I am hoping everything goes smoothly this time. I feel like I don't know the exact time frame it took for this book, since I did a lot of procrastinating and holding myself back and just letting fear of publishing stop me from actually publishing it. So I'm working on book 2. It is in the process. It is pretty going. But I don't want to also rush it out and just be okay, here's a book, you guys needed it, you wanted it, so I'm going to throw it out in April just because I said I would, and it's not where it needs to be. So April is going to be very close to where it's at.
Have you ever experienced writer's block?
Yes, terribly. With this book, there was a chunk of months where I couldn't write anything. I couldn't think of anything. And I was so frustrated. I finally went back to the previous chapter and just rewrote the entire chapter. And then finally it flowed through and I finished the book. But I know now for this book, like, hey, if you're that stuck and it's not going anywhere, don't wait 3 months to go back and look at the last chapter. Do it sooner than that, because I wasted so much time.
So we got one question in the comments that says, how did you decide what to write when you were writing your first book?
So originally I had decided or thought that I was going to do kind of more of a sweet romance. I didn't initially intend for it to have such heavy themes in it. I kind of just started writing. I didn't plan it out. I didn't really think about it. I kind of just sat down one day and the story was in my head, and that's what happened. It was just like, but I never thought I was going to write something that held such difficult themes and scenes to work through. As I was writing, I listen to screamo music when I write, so I keep saying like that's why this happened. It got so dark because of what I was listening to. But I just felt like as I was writing, so many people deal with difficult things. So many people go through dark moments. And I know I met my husband when I was at one of the darkest moments in my life, and I had no idea he was right around the corner, and my life was about to get better and my life was about to change. So I kind of wanted to pour that into the story that, you have these darknesses, but you never know when around the corner that light is going to come.
Have you ever Googled yourself?
Yeah, I did. I did recently, because I was like, somebody was talking about how people were like pirating books. I was like, if someone's pirating my book, then I officially feel really cool because someone took the time to make my book a pirated book. So I did Google myself. Didn't find that much.
Well, you're just starting out. If your book was ever turned into a movie, who would you want to be casted as your characters?
My husband's looking over at me with this biggest smile because people keep saying about movies and he's like, you never know. Look at Colleen Hoover. She has Blake Lively. What if you have Blake Lively? But I'm not sure. I would want the characters definitely to be older. I feel like a lot of books get turned into movies with teenagers, and I would definitely want them to be in their 20s, in their going towards their 30s, be adults. I should have a specific character in mind, but I honestly haven't thought about it. I don't even know who would be fitting for the characters. I haven't had time to watch that much TV either to even know who's really like big right now. Or heck, I wouldn't even care if they were big. If somebody offered to make my movie or my book into a movie, I would just cry for like a month, and I would just be like, listen, as long as they fit the aesthetic, put them in there.
What advice would you give someone else who's just starting out like you?
My best advice would be, do not get in your own way. It is so easy to get in your own way. It's so easy to make excuses for yourself on why you're not going to be able to do this, why your book's not good enough, why all of it. Like, I made so many excuses to hold myself back for 7 years. Don't do it. Just jump in. It is scary. I would love to tell you that, it's not scary. Just jump in. Everything's going to be perfect. I can't promise that. It is scary. When I was doing this book, publishing, writing, editing, all of it to get it out, there were a lot of moments where I got overwhelmed, where I felt like this isn't going to be worth it. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm messing up, and then I'm having to redo stuff, and it gets frustrating. But it is worth it. It's your dream. If it's something you really, really want to do, jump in and just like go full speed. And keep pushing, especially with the videos. I know a lot of people are like, how are you getting your videos out there? I have no clue. I'm just making videos and putting them out there. And I don't know what TikTok's like, oh, algorithm here, like we like this. I'm not sure, but I was posting 2 to 3 videos every day and getting like 30 views at some point. So it's not like I just magically hopped on and was like, magic potion, here's 6 million views on your video. Stay consistent, be authentic, just be honest with people, help people if you can. If you have advice, talk about your journey, talk about your struggles. I feel like other people need to know they're not alone in having difficult times trying to get to where they want to be.
What type of books do you like to read?
I like romance books. I like dual point of view romance books. I love a book that has a dual point of view. I will read dark romance. I'm reading Fourth Wing right now. I like fantasy. Honestly, I like a well-written book. Like, it doesn't even, I don't know how to describe. I just like when I can read a book and I can feel what they're feeling. I can connect with the characters. I can kind of just like see what the author is trying to create. It doesn't have to be perfect. I just want something I can really get into and just feel that connection with the book. And I've read books about everything. I'm not big on horror, which is weird because I like dark romance. But yeah, like not thriller books or anything like that. But if it has romance in it, I'll read any kind of romance.
What are you? Oh, well, you said you're currently reading Fourth Wing. How are you liking it so far?
I just started it. So this year, I normally read like 150 books a year. This year, last year. Last year I read 10 books. So I just started it. I just started chapter 2. So far I like it, but it is very early in the book. I'm hoping I like it. I've heard a lot of hype. I've been trying to avoid like when somebody's talking about, I just swipe because I don't want to know what's going on yet, but
You don't like the spoilers?
no, I like to be surprised. I want to see what's going to happen. So that was my Christmas present for my brother this year for Pollyanna. So I'm taking some time while we're away to read.
I'm not a big fan of spoilers either. I like to enjoy the story as I'm reading it rather than hear other people talk about it. So I usually scroll past those posts that have spoilers.
Yeah.
So
I've been trying so hard because I'm like, I've been doing all these lives. I'm like, I'm really hoping that one day I don't accidentally say something that I don't mean to say about one of my books and then spoil something. So every time I'm on here, I'm like, I have to watch what I say because my luck, I said something to somebody one time and they were like, well, now you ruined the book. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry.
do you listen or do you just read physical books or do you read Kindle or audio?
I don't normally do audio. I tried it once. I didn't really click with it. I do read physical books and I love ebooks. Like I will read 1,000,000 Kindle Unlimited books.
I wish I had the time for that. Normally, right now I'm on light duty at work, so I have a lot more time to read the actual physical or ebooks that I didn't normally have before. I'm a mail carrier for the post office. So I work up to 10 hours a day, up to 6 days a week. So, yeah. Because the way it's set up is you are not done until the route is done. Once you finish delivering your route, you're done for the day.
Oh, wow.
So,
Yeah, I didn't know. Like, I guess that makes sense, but that's crazy.
yeah. Oh, I work out here in Las Vegas. So it does get hard. I would say the hardest part of the year, like most other places have a hard time because of the snow.
Mm-hmm.
We don't get snow.
Yeah.
It's 120 degrees in the air conditioner in our truck.
Yeah,
So
that is terrible.
it is. So I drink up to 4 gallons of water in the summer. So just to compensate for no air conditioning.
Right. I feel like a law should be passed on that. Like,
There, from what I know, there has been, but because it wasn't until recently that it was passed.
mm,
So, and the trucks are older than the law is.
Right.
they couldn't really enforce it.
Mm.
But now that it's become a law and the trucks are dying because they're old,
Right.
need to be replaced, they are replacing them, but they won't come out between now and 2028 because they have to go into production. And if you think about it, the truck that I have is the same truck that's across the entire United States.
Yeah.
So imagine getting a truck to every single post office.
Yeah. That's a lot.
So I have a tendency to read, or should I say listen to audiobooks, because we don't have a radio in our truck.
Yeah.
So it's one way I can get in my books
Mm-hmm.
when I had no time.
Right.
So
I've had a lot of people ask if I will be turning this book into an audiobook, and I'm really thinking about doing that. I'm in the process of researching it. It's just not something I thought I was going to do. I mean, I didn't think it was going to go this far. So I didn't really see the point of making an audiobook as a debut author if it would have sold like a little tiny bit of books, you know? So I'm hoping that I can get it into an audiobook for people like you, because I do realize that there are a lot of people who don't have the time to sit and read physical books.
yeah, so I think it's every Wednesday on here they have what they call a narration station, which is a bunch of narrators that are on TikTok that narrate indie author books live. So I will figure out who's the exact. I know there's a bunch of narrators that end up in there, but I will send you some of the information. I'll have to look it up after we get off, and I will send you some of the information. Maybe you can go check it out.
That would be incredible. Thank you so much. That'd be awesome, because I've been like, I have no idea what I'm doing.
Well, they'll be able to help you on the narrator side of things, and so I started Book Talk in October.
Okay.
And it like started blowing up my TikTok in November. But over the years I've picked up more of the narrator side of things because I listen to more audiobooks. So there's a couple of narrators on here that that I like. Oh, and then D.W. Cole, who's in the comments, said that Fem narration is happening on the 15th. They are linked with indies to narration a portion.
Okay.
So they hook up with indie authors to narrate portions of the book.
I'm gonna write that down so I don't forget, because I learned the other day, I was like, oh, afterwards I'll just check the comments and go back to that, and there is no going back to the comments. So I never was able to find the comment from my live that I meant to go back to.
So those of you who are just joining us or have been here, if you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments so that she can answer them for you. Have you ever borrowed books from the library?
Yes, I have. I bring our kids to the library. They're homeschooled, so we were doing the library a lot for a while there, going and reading. And my oldest son is 9. He loves to read. He last Christmas asked for books, so he flew through all the books he got. And so we do try to go to the library a lot, and I try to get some books there too sometimes. Usually it's focused on them more, though.
Well, they're always running around. You try to catch up with them anyways.
Yeah.
Do you ever read books as a family?
Yes, we read like children's books as a family, kids' books to the kids and stuff like that. So they the younger two are kind of just like, meh. At this point, they're still little. They would rather just be like wreaking havoc on the world. So right now I only have one little book friend.
Who is your biggest supporter in your writing?
I have so much support. My husband is a huge supporter. He pushes me a lot to put myself out there and stop talking myself down from things. But my whole family, like my dad, my sister, my brothers, my mom, they all are just pushing me and helping me along the way. My best friend, she's been amazing throughout this whole process. I'd say they're my biggest supporters, my family, my best friend, and my husband. And then my kids are awesome. And the other day I was like, guys, I'm sorry, it's been so crazy the last couple months. Like, it's just like life has changed from what we're used to, in a great way. But I was like, I'm sorry, it's so different and crazy. Like, me and your dad sometimes are just like packing books all day. And my oldest was like, Mom, you're making your dreams come true. So why are you sorry? And I was like, so I have a great support system. I think that's a huge part of me being able to do so well.
I believe that one of the things that a lot of people, we all end up talking ourselves out of doing things that when it's our dream, we should embrace it and really take off with it. Yeah, sometimes they'll fail, but it's just like riding a bike. You fall, you get yourself back up. You keep going. You don't stop, and you don't give up, or talk yourself out of getting back on the bike. And that's what a lot of us need to remember about ourselves is there's so much in the world that is negative that we need to remain positive.
I agree 100%.
Do you have any other writers in your family?
My brother-in-law has a couple books out. My sister-in-law is working on she just had my little nephew back the end of last year. So she's been, taking care of him, but she was working on a poetry book and now she's got that coming out hopefully soon. She just said, she's like, you've been inspiring me. I'm getting back into writing that. So I do have some writers in my family, them too. And I think that's it. Yeah. I hope I'm not missing any random writers in my family that are, like, what about me?
Does your husband read your books?
A million times. My husband is my first draft reader, my second draft reader, oh my gosh, I think I'm going to do this. Do you think that's a good idea? And he's like, baby, it's your book. I think it's amazing if you do it. But he was the one 7 years ago, he would come home, he was working nights, so he'd come home at like the wee hours of the morning and I'd be like, listen to what I just wrote. And he'd be like, all right, let's hear it. And I'd read it to him and he'd be like, well, what's coming next? What's going to happen? I want to know. And I'd be like, I don't know. How am I supposed to know what's going to happen? And he's like, you're the writer. You're the one making the story. I was like, it just comes to me. I don't know what's happening. So yeah, we sat up many nights when this was coming. He would read it out loud to me so I could hear what was happening and catch anything. And then I'd read it out loud to him. And he's probably read my book more than anybody.
Has your writing and publishing journey ever changed the way you see yourself?
I feel like this last 2 months has been a huge shift in how I see myself. I mean, I feel like the beginning of last year, when I finally decided to push myself to actually publish, I started working on the journey of like, you can't keep holding yourself back. Like, you've got to start doing what you want to do and stop being afraid of what people think. But I think seeing people actually like telling that voice in my head that's saying, you know what, you're not good enough, your writing's not good enough, and then seeing people actually enjoy what I wrote and to the level that it's gotten, has been like an extra dose of me saying, like, anytime I start getting in my head, I'm like, you know what, why are you doing this to yourself? Why are you holding yourself back? You are the reason you're stopping yourself. Nobody else is getting in your way right now. Like, you have people who are being so nice to you, people who love your book, people who are begging for more, people who, the second I'm sold out for the day are like, I can't find your book, where is it? That's something I never thought would happen to me, and I still, to this second, am like in shock and like I don't know how to feel. Like, I just keep waiting for reality to set in and go back to normal. So I feel like that feeding into me trying to push myself outside of that mindset is really changed me a lot over the last 2 months.
So everyone who's just joined us, we are talking to the author of Unbreak Me. It's a what, a small town romance?
Yeah, small town country. It's based in like on a ranch a lot of it, and then it is in the middle of nowhere. So
So I looked it up on Goodreads. It has 4.17 stars. So almost a 5-star read. So you have 284 ratings
yeah,
and 79 reviews. It's about Claire Andrews, who spends her entire life desperately trying to save her little brother from the demons of their past. After he takes his lone life, she knows the only way she could survive the pain is to get far away from their hometown. When her boss offers her an opportunity to a fresh start in another state, she jumps at the chance, not realizing she's headed straight into the path of the man who has sworn off love. Tyler Henry is a cowboy who refuses to make time for anything except for his ranch and paralyzed younger brother, Luke. When Claire crash lands in front of him, he shoves the feelings, promising himself he'll stay away the mistakes from his past, convincing him that he's unworthy of anything more. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask it in the comments. Did you enjoy writing this book?
yes, I love writing. It's like my escape. I could write all the time if I had the chance. Like I said, we have 3 boys. They're all homeschooled. We love to travel, and I try to take as much advantage of their childhood as I can because I know that's going to be over in a blink. So I definitely make sure I put them before anything else. But I love to write, and I'm very grateful my husband has been home and he's been able to give me the extra chance to, it just played out, so everything worked out perfectly, and I've been having more opportunities to write again, and it's just they're getting a little older, so they don't require mommy cuddles all day, which is sad and good at the same time, I guess. But yeah, I love writing. I love writing, and this is a blessing like a million times over, this whole journey.
How do you balance mom life with your writing?
It's give and take. So sometimes, I have to give more to the kids, and the kids are always going to come first. Like I said, if they need me, I will put my book to the side a million times over. They are the reason I'm doing everything I'm doing. I also, though, have to say sometimes, you know what, mommy's got to do what I've got to do. I've got to pack books. I've got to go write. I've got to go do whatever I've got to do. When it was getting close to publishing this book, I really was like, all right, guys, I'm sorry. Mom's going to be like MIA for a couple weeks because I have so much to get done. But they're really understanding. My mom is an amazing help with that as well. She'll take them. My husband, he'll be like, babe, I'm going to pack the kids up in the car. We're going to go have an epic day. I'm going to bring them to the movies, the bike park, whatever the case may be. You've got the day to yourself. I'll be back later, or go to Starbucks, whatever you need. So I do have, like I said, a fantastic, incredible support system. And I truly believe that is a huge role in me being able to get to where I've gotten.
Is this book on Kindle Unlimited?
Yes, it is on Kindle Unlimited. So Amazon, I just wouldn't put out there. I've had a lot of people order through Amazon and then they're upset they don't get a signed copy. Their books that come from Amazon do ship from Amazon. TikTok does have signed copies, but I don't have signed copies on Amazon. So I'm really sorry about that to everybody who has ordered it on Amazon and then they get it and they're like, why didn't she sign my book? But it is on Kindle Unlimited as well.
Are you going to attend any of the book signings in 2024?
I hope so. I've been trying to look into them. I know there's one, I think it's like Indies Takeover Philly, or I might be saying that wrong. I was trying to look into that. It might be booked up. It seems like a lot of these you have to like book way in advance. And like I said, as a first-time indie author that just published in October, I didn't really think about these like bigger opportunities. So if I can't get into any this year, I definitely am going to try to get into some next year, but I'm hoping I can find some that are taking people that I'm not having to drive really, really far. Yeah, Indies Invade Philly. So 2025. So that's what I'm looking at right now, is applying for the following year, like next year coming, for the Indies Invade Philly one. I'm in Jersey, so I'm close to like Philly, New York, that kind of, New York's kind of far in some spots. It depends.
If you guys have any other questions, please feel free to ask. Kayla says, I love that you homeschool. I think that's amazing.
It's so funny because I never thought that I would be homeschooling. When COVID hit, my son was in school. You know, he obviously got sent home for virtual learning, and I just noticed such a shift in how he was doing. And then the next year, it was like hit or miss. Like, oh, COVID might hit, COVID might not hit. Who knows? They might end up getting pulled out again. And I told my husband, I was like, I don't want to do virtual learning again. I hated that. So let's just try homeschooling, see what happens. And they've been doing so well. Like I said, we like to travel. So right now we're just like, we just packed up and we left, and we're just on, and we're literally snowed in. I actually, last night we ended up getting stuck in the middle of nowhere in our car with everybody, and some nice person had to bring us back to our Airbnb. So we have no vehicle right now, and we're just snowed in at our Airbnb.
So DW Cole says, PM me, I'm in Virginia. I know a few on the East Coast. And also apply for Beyond the Read Author event for 2025. That one's a great one, and it's in Ohio.
I'm writing your name down right now so I don't forget your name, because I know as soon as this is over, I won't have any.
She's another indie author I found on here, and she's amazing. This is her book.
Follow you from here. Oh, I followed you.
This is her book.
I'm gonna look that up as soon as I'm done this. Oh, I'm just writing it. Yeah. Thank you so much, DW Cole, for that, because I am lost. I'm trying to dig and find out information, but I feel like a baby still at all of this.
I see that's one of the things that's great about Book Talk and the Book Talk community, is that you make connections with other authors, narrators, and everything that can help you on your journey. I know there's a bunch of things on here that I've run into, and I'm not even a writer. I mean, I have written a book back in 2009, and I have no idea where it's at right now. I've moved too many times, probably lost it.
Oh no.
Never published it, and it wasn't because I didn't want to publish it. It was more that I just didn't know how to.
Yeah, I get that. When I first read this book, it's intimidating trying to figure out like what to do.
And I also didn't really have the budget to do it either. I was working a minimum wage job at the time, so I didn't have a whole lot of money to begin with. I could barely afford my own bills. So I'm hoping to try to track it down and finish it up and get it published here within the next 2 years. So we'll see what happens. She says she has several signings. She's always offered to share her table. Only one I have is in Vegas in June.
That's
nice. The Be Love, Spread Love author event, right? DW?
I've never been to the West Coast ever. Vegas isn't in. No, I'm trying to think. Is that on the coast? No, I've never been anywhere past.
No, so it's California and then Nevada, and we're in Nevada. So we're not near the coast. It's all desert and dry.
Yeah, we want to travel, but so far I've only been to the East Coast and nowhere further.
So yeah, but I guess she'll be there. So I'm going. I'll be there. DW, so I'll see you there. Um, I didn't even before I got on the book talk. I didn't even know those existed. To be honest with you, it's amazing the amount of stuff that you find out on this app.
Yeah, I've learned a ton on here. There's so many awesome people sharing information and being very helpful, like right now. Also, enjoy Vegas. It sounds awesome.
It's very hot, so make sure you bring your shorts and your tank tops. It starts getting hot over here in like March, and then it kind of slowly trickles up to 120 in June, July, and August.
Oh, that's brutal. I don't even know what I would probably, I don't even know how I would live in that. I don't think I've ever been anywhere that's 120 degrees. Like
So,
max.
symbol signings in Virginia are taking applications for 2025 and also Lucky Mountain events.
I'm writing this.
I heard of another one called Books and Beaches, and that's in Oregon.
We are trying to go to Oregon in March. My brother moved across the country because he's so mean. He just left. I think the snowplow's finally here.
Thanks. No plow. Where are you? That's another one you guys can look into too. Books and Beaches.
I'm writing all these down. Thank you guys so much. I'm, like I said, I'm like, I don't know. I didn't think it was going to go this well. And I feel like now that it is going well, I'm like, dive into more chaos, but also write book two. And I'm just trying to do it all.
That's the whole reason why I'm even doing this, is to connect you with people that you wouldn't have even run into before. Sometimes it takes a minute before you do run into them, but at least it gives you help and connects you with more people and more readers. And that's the whole point behind my author appreciation month. So
Now, can you do signings at Barnes & Noble if you're indie? I know there's like so many weird stipulations with being self-published, and like I didn't publish wide, so my book is not in Barnes & Noble. It's pretty much only on Amazon right now. I used their free iSpan because I was broke. I was trying to to publish on a budget.
you said yes, you can.
Awesome. So I will definitely call them and try. I live in like the middle of nowhere, so anywhere is going to be a little bit. I don't know other local authors for signings. That's awesome. So I'm going to look into that also. Did he fall asleep?
Yeah, I would look into that. Also, talk to your library, your public libraries. You could do signings there, and you can also do ones that she was also talking about local bookstores, like the little indie bookstores.
Yeah, I need to find more of them. I live in such a very tiny area. Yeah.
Coffee shops and stores as well.
I need to find areas near where I live that have like the cooler bookstores and stuff. Where I live, I don't, but I'm sure it would be as simple as like asking people on Facebook, hey, do you know of any cute coffee shops or bookstores that are within a couple hours away?
You can always just go down there and say, hey, do you guys have a manager around? Can I talk to your manager? And just be all like, hey, I'm an indie author and I would like to do a book signing. Can we set up a date where we could post this up and get people in that to, for the signing of my book?
Yeah.
So if there's anybody else on here who would like to ask her a question.
Yeah, see, that would be amazing. I did friend request you, but I'm gonna message you D.W. Cole about all of this, because you're opening my mind to so many possibilities.
Yeah, she's an amazing author. But she's also, we're doing an interview with her as well. So hers is on the 28th.
Yeah, right. I gotta start remembering to have paper and pen near me, because I feel like every time I do a live, I have so many things. Yes, life's great. Wedding, congratulations. That's awesome.
Yes, that's really awesome. Congratulations on your wedding. So if anyone else has any questions, we're gonna leave it at that. Her book again is Unbreak Me. It is on Amazon. It's on KU if you have KU, or you can purchase it for $5.99, or you can buy the paper book for $12.09, or you can go to her TikTok shop and get a signed copy with some goodies.
Yes. Yep, I have some goodies right now, and they will probably be switching all the time. I'm working on designing a new bookmark to order, because I flew through the first set of them.
Yeah. So, all right. She wants to order too.
That would be amazing. This is it. If anybody wants to see it, I don't. So that's my book. Thank you so much for having me on here. I really do appreciate it. Thank you.
Everyone loves your book. Send them the love.
I had no idea what I was doing with this cover, but it ended up working out. So
I think it's a pretty cover. I can't wait to see what you do with the next few books.
I know, that's what I was saying. My plan for book 2 cover, a little spoiler, is I want to try to have the butterflies go through every cover. So if you like put them all up together, it would be like a line of butterflies throughout the books. I'm currently working on designing it. We'll see how skilled I am at book 2 cover. But hopefully it works out that it can be this like big trail of butterflies throughout the books.
So Nadi said she's putting it on her TBR, and when she gets the money, she's going to go to your shop and purchase one.
Thank you.
So, I will be posting all the questions from this interview on my page as I clip them. That takes a while because it's editing the video. So, but if anyone has any questions, we're gonna leave it here, and I'm gonna let her go hang out with her family on their vacation.
Thank you again so much. Thank you guys all in the comments so much also for hopping on here. I don't know how to, but yeah, I don't know how to get out of here. Oh, there. I'm sorry.
All right, thank you everyone for stopping by. I'm doing the 5K Schmivway / author appreciation month this month. So I have several books so far that are added to the list for the Schmivway. This is one. It's a signed copy from her. So, oh, you're welcome, Nadi. We have this one, and all of these authors I will be interviewing. This one we're doing today at 6, so please stop by and show her some love as well. And then we have this one as well. Like I said, all these books I will be interviewing them on lives. So please stop by if you have any questions about any of the books. I'm happy to answer it. Feel free to DM me for any questions. If you want, you can jump on my page. I have 2 pinned videos. One was for her today that shows you her book, and like the blurb. And then the other pinned video is the other author. It's pinned in my profile. It gives you all the instructions. I have a total of 25 authors. I will be doing a pinned post here soon that has all 25 authors that you could that you will need to follow to be a part of that giveaway. We're gonna have four U.S. winners, one international winner, and winner one is going to win up to 25 books. Some will be and some are going to be physical. So far, we have 5 physicals. We are also going to have one. We are also going to have one PR box. So if you want to stop by and enter into the 5K giveaway, feel free. All the share, comment, tag your book besties so that we can get to 5K. Once we reach 5K, we'll be shutting down the entries to the post, and the winner will be drawn on February 1st, as long as I reach 5K before then. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to DM me, and I'm going to let you go. And I will see you at 6 p.m. Pacific time for the interview for Chloe Knight, the author of The Immortal Curse. All right, see you later.